Living my life with stoic principles changed my life for the better. I'm definitely not insinuating that I myself am a stoic or I've mastered stoicism in any way. I'm a novice in it. I'm still actively learning about stoicism right now and actively also implementing stoicism in my life right now. What I can say is that stoicism helped me change my perspective, helped me get more mentally sharper and give me more mental resilience, and made me more in tune with my better version of myself and the best version of myself and my full potential in this life. Now, you might be asking, why is stoicism such a philosophy that's so overhyped? Like, why do people treat stoicism as if it's something really important, even though it's a pretty old philosophy and probably something that is not that deep, right? But why is stoicism so talked about? Because you probably heard a few content creators, you probably heard somebody, if you're in the self-improvement space, you probably heard somebody talk about stoicism in a most likely positive way, and how that stoicism changed your life, or that all men need to be stoic, or that everybody should learn about stoicism or apply stoicism in their life. You probably heard, like, if you're in the self-improvement space, again. If not, this is probably your first time hearing about stoicism, most likely. But if you're in the self-improvement space, you probably heard about stoicism. You probably heard about people talk about stoicism in a most likely positive way, and how everybody should apply stoicism in their life. What makes stoicism so important? Why is stoicism so important? Why is it so talked about? In this video, hopefully I can answer your question to that, and also tell you how stoicism has changed my life, my perspective, and most importantly, how it can change your life and make you more mentally in tune with self-improvement, maybe working, maybe whatever. Because stoicism in and of itself can be applied in many, many ways. So when you're watching this video, try to put yourself in, when I say these stoicism quotes and say how these situations can help you, try to implement stoicism in your shoes, like whatever you're trying to do, your purpose, your self-improvement journey, whatever it may be. Try to put yourself in the shoes, metaphorically speaking, of these stoicism principles that I'm going to mention right now. So this is how stoicism can change your life and make you better, and also make you have an easier life as well. Here's why. Number 1, you're in control of your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This quote alone has helped me change my perspective and change how I see the world, and also how I see the issues and the problems in my life way more differently than before. Because before I found stoicism, and before I even was in self-improvement in general, I was such an emotional and reactive person. I was always the type of guy to, when something mildly inconvenient happens to me, or something that's annoying comes across my path of life, I'd always be the type of person that will whine, complain. I'll always be the type of person that will pretend that there's outside forces trying to get me, trying to make me to fail, some dumb rationalizations like that. Another thing is that I'll always be the type of person that will curse out anybody or anything around me when something wrong happens in my life. And also make this be a reason for me to consume, or not consume, but indulge in excessive pleasure and all these vices that I'm also currently struggling with right now. But before, just use that to essentially just cope with my pain, right? And bottom line, before I found stoicism, I was weak. I was mentally weak, and I had no mental resilience or emotional resilience whatsoever. I was a pathetic person. That's it. So just hearing this guy, Marcus Aurelius, talking about how, okay, sure, you don't have control over what happens to you, or you don't have control over the things that are happening around you, but you do have control over your mind, and you do have control over how you perceive the situation and how you can mentally pivot so you can get yourself to a better optimal situation than the one that you're dealing with right now. That was literally an attack on how I was living my life and how I was literally just going about my life, because that right there was like a wake-up call, essentially a wake-up call for how I was going about my life and how that's not really that deep. It's not something that you should protect. Like, you don't, like, this thing doesn't have control over me. I have control over it. So just think about this quote. I'll say it again. You're in control of your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. Just think about how much heartache, how much energy, mental energy, how much cringe, going back to the situation, remembering it back, and how, like, maybe a few years back, you remembering how you dealt with that situation, like, wow, it wasn't really that deep. How did I react to the situation that was so small? In perspective, it was so small, but I was doing this and that and doing this. Why was I doing that? Like, imagine, just put yourself in a situation where, again, you could even pause this video. Think about this quote. I'll reiterate it for last time. You're in control of your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. Just think about it. Pause the video if you want. Just think about how much heartache, how much mental energy you could have saved, and cringe you could have saved remembering that situation back had you applied this principle in your life. And if you didn't know stoicism, you'll probably think that somebody has said that quote maybe in the recent century that we're in. Like, you're in control of your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. You feel like some, like, self-improvement guru made that up or something, if you have no idea what stoicism is. But the crazy thing about stoicism is that stoicism is an old-ass philosophy. It's old. It's very, very old. It's a philosophy that was founded in the BC era. If you don't know what the BC era is, it means, well, I mean, I think it changed, but from my understanding, it's before Christ, before Jesus Christ. The philosophy was founded before Jesus. And I don't care if you're not religious or not. I'm not saying that, whatever, you do you. All I'm saying is that this philosophy is old as hell. And this quote literally can be applied easily in modern times. And you might be thinking, okay, if this philosophy was founded in the BC era, like, if it was founded in the BC era, what's the point of applying this philosophy in our life now? Okay, maybe that quote could be applied now, right? But clearly the philosophy is going to be outdated, is going to be possibly barbaric, and why should we apply anything to our life that was made many centuries before this era that we're in right now? But I can confidently say that stoicism can easily be applied in this era right now, the modernity era. Number 2, stoicism isn't outdated. I already explained how you can easily use this quote You're in control of your mind and outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. You can easily use that quote that Marcus Aurelius, who I forgot to mention, he's also one of the founders of Stoicism. So you're going to see, if you're going to dwell in Stoicism after watching this video, he's like the big three or four, I think, 3 or 4 like main faces of Stoicism. Arguably, probably the main. So, just quick disclaimer. But what that quote easily can be applied in modern times, and there's also more modern principles from Stoicism that you can apply in your life easily in this era that we're in. I'll give you another one right now. This is from a different Stoic. His name was Socrates. He said that we suffer more in imagination than we do in our reality. That's facts. Because think about it. You probably overthought about a lot of stuff that you come across in your life, things that happen to you, and in actuality, it wasn't even a big deal, and you just burnt yourself up, you burnt yourself out, and you ruined your day for no reason, because you overthought about this thing, whatever it may be. You overthought about this thing, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't that deep. Because I know I have done that many, 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 many times. That's one of the rationalizations that my lizard brain likes to come up with a lot. So, yeah. And that was from Socrates, who was another founder of Stoicism. So again, really reflect on this quote. Do some introspection. Think about how you could apply this quote when you were overthinking, when you were overthinking about something that wasn't a big deal, and let that have control over you. Think about it. And another thing that people like to talk about is that a popular misconception about Stoicism is that when you apply Stoicism in your life, you're not supposed to show emotions. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to get angry. You're not supposed to show fear in any particular way. You're supposed to stay completely emotionless. You're supposed to completely suppress your emotions and let yourself be completely stoic. And what stoicism means essentially is you putting yourself through hardship, or you putting yourself through resistance without showing any complaint or fear, I think. And yeah, it's true. It's a half-truth. I'm not going to say that's not false. That's pretty much the main purpose of stoicism, is that your emotions and your impulses can get a hold of you, and that you should control your emotions, and that you should apply introspection in your life so that you don't let your emotions control you. But stoicism in and of itself is not telling you not to show anger or sadness in any way. That's a very stupid thing that some self-improvement guys like to bring up, even though it's not even true. Because sure, crying all the time and getting angry over all the time that's negative, right? That's not a good thing. We can all agree on that, right? Stoicism teaches you that you should have control over your emotions and not have your emotions control you. Control your mind. Because again, you're in control of your mind. You are in control. You have some control over how you react to things, and therefore you have some control over your emotions. And there's some arguments. People are saying that, particularly men, they said that men should be more emotional. They should cry more. They should be more open about their emotions. That's a very heated topic that social media has brought up with, that men should be more emotional. And I'm not going to really talk about that in that video. That could be another video at another time. But what I can say about that is that Sure, you can say whatever you want about that. I don't even. If you want me to make an actual like a video about talking about that, you can suggest it in the comments. But what I can say from that is that anger, sadness, and fear are always going to be destructive emotions. They're never going to do you any good. So why let those emotions control you in any way? Sure, it's fine to show anger. Sure, it's fine to cry. It's fine to show fear every now and then. That's fine. That's human emotions. That's natural human responses to things that happen around you. If you don't have any emotions, are you even human? That's a discussion for another day. But what I can say from that is that, especially as a man, let's be real here. Sadness, anger, and fear are never going to be emotions that's going to play in your favor for 9 times out of 10. It's fine to display it, but it's not fine for you to be controlled by those emotions or be controlled by those frequencies of being sad or being angry and just getting out of control. So bottom line is that emotions is not a bad thing, right? Obviously, anyone who says it's a bad thing, they need to get some help, because that's a very stupid take. But what I can say is that stoicism just teaches you how to have control over your emotions and not have your emotions control you. And that is objectively what everybody should do. Number 4, stoicism will solve most modern problems, and that stoicism can change and save a lot of young men today. I talked about this briefly in the second point, how stoicism isn't outdated. What I want to say in this point is that stoicism can also solve a lot of modern problems today. So if you're still not convinced that stoicism isn't a philosophy that you should be learning about or that it's important in any way, you should, if you're not convinced that stoicism can still benefit you in the modern times, just think about what I'm going to say in a few seconds. I was watching this video on stoicism, and there's this YouTuber that mentioned, and when I was watching this video, the guy I was watching, he was talking about how stoicism, if everybody, like literally everybody, applied stoicism in their life, a lot of modern problems will be solved. The first quote, the second quote, and there's many more quotes and principles of stoicism that they could also apply as well. But he mentioned that stoicism can solve a lot of modern problems, and one of the ones he listed was road rage. Makes sense. Road rage. Social media arguments on very stupid things. Public meltdowns. All these things would be solved if everybody applied stoicism in their life. And just think about it. Think about it. That's probably true. Because people would be less reactive, people would be less confrontational, and people would be more reflective. A lot of people in this world are not reflective. They don't reflect on what they're doing. They just do things either because of their impulses or because they don't care. But if they applied stoicism in their life, we will be living a more peaceful life. Just think about it. We will be living a life that's way more peaceful, and we'll be living a way more productive and blissful life, I guess. And another thing I want to mention is that young men today, specifically young men, anybody can apply stoicism, but specifically young men, should apply some stoic principles in their life, because a lot of young men, I'm going to keep this brief, but a lot of young men are very insecure about things they can't control. That's what I've been noticing. If you go on TikTok, or if you go, not even on TikTok, you go on just social media in general, search up like looks maxing stuff, black pill stuff, red pill stuff. A lot of them always will get insecure and get depressed over things that they can't control, like their height, their package, right? Their package. Pause. Their package, their facial structure, their genetic potential, their physique potential, a lot of things. And what stoicism teaches you, this will be directly linked to the first point I made about how you control your mind in outside events, but it's going to be a little different. What stoicism teaches you is that the things that you can control, which there's a lot of things that young men can control, other than those things that I listed, for the most part. There's a lot of things that young men can control now. But they focus on the things they can't control, like all the things I have listed. But what stoicism teaches you is that everything that you can't control doesn't matter. Because think about it. You can't do anything about it, right? That's just what you're given. That's the cards that you were dealt with. What's the point of what's the point of using up energy for things you can't control, things you can't change? There's no point, right? There's no point. You're just wasting your time. So what stoicism teaches you is that you have control over the things you have control over the things that, again, you have control over the things that you can change in your life. And there's a lot of things that young men can change in their life. A lot of things. I'm not going to go through that in this video, but there's a lot of things that young men, or just men, can change, and they'll still be put in a better position regardless. And I was kind of put in this situation before. Maybe in another video I'll go touch on that more. This is just going to be a video on basic stoicism and how you can apply this in your life. This is a very basic stoicism video. So if you are more versed into stoicism and you know more about it, you're probably wondering, why is he only talking about like 2 quotes from stoicism? This guy doesn't know anything. I know a lot more. I know a little more than that. Trust me. But I'm just trying to make this video kind of the starter guide into stoicism, learning more about it and how you can use stoicism, and also learn more about stoicism and why it's beneficial for young men and anybody to learn about and apply in their life today. Stoicism is amazing. Like, stoicism is a really great way to live. It changed my life for the better. It made me way more mentally sharper, made me more mentally stronger. It made me look at my problems as something that I do have control over, and I'm not just going to be chained to circumstances, and that things happening to me that aren't ideal, I can always change them. I can always flourish. I can always get better, and I can always do better. And that's pretty much the main point of stoicism, is that sure, these things happen to you, these things happen around you, but you can always change. You can always work past that. You can always get better. You can always put yourself in a position higher regardless of the cards that you are dealt with. That's like the main point of what stoicism entails. So I'm glad if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. And I want this video, if you have no knowledge about stoicism, I want this to be the video that will get you to learn more about stoicism. I want this to be the seed that will be planted so that you can also watch videos on stoicism. You can learn more about stoicism on your own time. You can apply stoicism in your life, any way, shape, or form. And also not just stoicism. Stoicism is not just like the best philosophy to learn about. There's many other philosophies that you can learn about. Learn more about philosophy in general. Philosophy is something that's underlooked in self-improvement. It's something that can really change you mentally, make you way more intellectually superior and mentally sharper than you when you were before. It's going to make you way more conscious of your life and make you really more appreciative of the things around you. So get on stoicism, learn more about stoicism, and not just stoicism, learn more about philosophy in general. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you liked it. Please let me know if this was helpful. I probably rambled on a little bit throughout the video, but I gotta get this video out. If you didn't see before, another month has passed without another video. Trash. Get me accountable. I'm doing terrible with uploads right now, and personal issues aside, I need to do better. I need to record videos. I need to get the ball rolling. I need to get more momentum, and I need to do better. Apply stoicism in your life. Very, very, very basic video on stoicism. Try to make this a video where you're going to be inspired to learn more about stoicism. So that's my video. Subscribe, like, share this to somebody who needs this. Reject complacency and embrace strength. Peace.